Well, it changed many things and not so much. Many things in the meaning that in fact um, the whole purpose of an adaptation is how do I tell the same story but with a different media, and not that much because after all the two most important topics of a story are how the character are driven me into this story. How do I generate the empathy? Um, so it's a deconstruction and reconstruction process during which the light is brought by the characters that you have to follow, and so it's absolutely it's really 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 thrilling to do that. Really for production purpose. When I wrote the book, the obvious antagonism between the American and the Soviets and everything that was apparently to being communist was huge. There was like a real detestation. And so when I set up my character in 2005, I think I wrote the book in 2007 or 2008. And when Julia's father in New York, learned in 1989 that her daughter has moved to Berlin East after the fall of the wall, it's a real trauma. For production reason, we had to set up this story as a French story. Doing it from the States would have been a complete different production story. So we worked with the director to find, the same strengths of antagonism. What would make Michelle so upset about the fact that her daughter literally flew to Berlin East. And so that's when Miguel came with a brilliant idea that he was married to an East Berliner that escaped from East Germany and risked her life, going to go to the West. So of course, even if the wall just fell off, and the bridge was open, from Michel, the idea that his own daughter is going back from where, his deceased wife escaped is really traumatizing. But it works. It really works well. Well, really, literally, nowadays, it's almost unseen. It's so hard to do that. It's everywhere. I just wanted, maybe because I just needed, this. Can we this bubble, but not as a bubble, as something really true, like it can exist. There is other things to show, and that's the whole beauty of humanity. My whole purpose when I write a story, and I've written 23 so far, is if at the end of the story you don't feel better than you were at the beginning of the story, why. And it doesn't mean that you're not going through a lot of time where you reconsider your own way of thinking. It's not, of course, you are going to be affected during the ride, and you might cry, you might laugh, you might be very sad and very happy, but at the end, it's a choice of the storyteller. It's hope or desperation, and I think that optimism requires much more sensibility and intelligence than pessimism. He was right away my first choice. I saw him because I had the chance to know him as a man, and I knew that Jean had this strength, this charisma, this extraordinary presence, and in the same way inside, the same sensibility and the same pudeur, as we say in French, which is feeling but not being able to say or to show how you feel. And I think it's very common in the relationship between fathers and daughters. And the whole, I mean, the title of the story is all those things we never said, and we don't say them because when it's too late, you just say why I haven't told them that. I would give everything to have one more dinner with my father. Just one, not a week, just one. And and of course, when I say that, there is so many times where I say, why? I mean, you had so many opportunity to have, those dinners. Why? So, that's the show. I've always been. I think you have the action story driven and you have the character story driven. I am I'm boxing in the character driven story. I know that, for example, today, when you read about the code of the show, the main idea is that everything has to be in the first episode. And it's funny because 10 years ago in the publication, or 15 years ago, you had the same kind of, pre-conceptual idea. Everything has to be in the first chapter. And I was either avant-gardist or already an old schmuck, but I was saying I don't believe this. I believe that in the first chapter, in the first episode, you have to meet a character that can take you by your hand, and take you on a journey wherever he wants, because you can't leave him anymore. This is the most important difficulty of a story, meeting a character. Of course, I mean, you can do a cliffhanger, with a lot of explosion and stuff, but the most sophisticated and brilliant cliffhanger is, like in real life. If you meet someone, and after 3 minutes of conversation, you're looking at your watch and you're saying, I'm canceling my next meeting. I have to stay there. I have to go on with this conversation. For me, this is the real purpose of a story.